We are at war with an enemy we can't see. A brutal conspiracy of assassination, kidnappings, bombings, hijackings, and mass murder. There's a battle raging, fueled by desperation, hatred, and fear.
Now the principal language spoken here is gunfire.
It is a world war led by holy men, madmen, and millions of disciples willing to die for their cause. Their strategy is worldwide terrorism.
Bulletproof vest, niggas! Hold up! Grab your army suits, your fat black boots, military gear, and go out like troops. Grab your army suits and your fat black boots, military gear, and go out like troops. Grab your army suits and your fat black boots, military gear, and go out like troops. Grab your army suits and your fat black boots, military gear, and go out like troops.
All rhymes is mad raw, nigga, metaphors pour from my jaws, the exhaust got high with fly sounds, pound the floors is war. Before you rap back, you whack, come back, I back action. Block 4 fifths to be exact like that. Strike till you're not one shot, a bang slang to your brain, get you open on top. Well, so what, nigga, take that, and then some. Sins done when it comes to track and fat drums, I lyrical tunes that boom, crush, consume brains, leaving your veins, putting puncture wounds, aim and pop, blazing hot Glock, raising your knock, cock the kill shot, spill it to bumper clock. You want test, nigga, best me on MSG, a blast fast and shatter that ass. It's like plexiglass fool, mass through chop with dime, homicide, collide with energized thoughts from dark side apartheid. Split your flesh from your chest, my complex style be wild, enough tough like rough sex or roughness. I dedicate this track to the suspect. The real live niggas ain't afraid to bust sex.
Soldiers, militant darkness, but heavenly niggas in heaven, strapped with the holy Mac 11s, returning devils and poisonous reverends. Razor blade stash inside the Bible, stalk through the church like a madman on arrival. I conquer your honor, the battle farmer, son of man contra. Dead man becomes a warrior tragedy, father's palmer. My thoughts is elevated, ours motivated, so keep this in mind. My switch place is double plated. I take off the heads of those who worship Adam and Eve. From the Garden of Eden, follow the Prince of Thieves. I aim to guard you at the lyrical burglar. It's surprising from killing like Cain did the first murder. Suits and fat black boots, military gear, and go out like troops. Grab your army suits and fat black boots, military gear, and go out like troops. Grab your army suits and fat black boots, military gear, and go out like troops. Grab your army suits and fat black boots, military gear, and go out like troops.
Silent weapons, instruments of combat, using quiet wars when I attack. MCs become POWs, missing in action. Shogun the assassin strikes rage when I engage in street wars with neighborhood drug lords. Legendary weaponry like crossbows, bows and arrows get aimed at foes. It penetrates through the skin but first to your clothes. My platoon's uniform is Timbos and Camos. Night stalkers, you're being followed by dark shadows. Commandos with heavy ammo, we are the men of war. Refugees from Jeff County, army of black knights, sinister to death strikes. I came with a scam, a foolproof plan to death the colored man.
Because they see the vision, the idealism. They don't see the abuse.
I am prepared to lead you.
Tonight on 48 Hours.
They had my mind.
Cults.
I almost killed my dad.
Guns.
They really had a massive plan to arm themselves.
And mind control.
I was physically, emotionally, spiritually, and sexually tortured and abused.
Father I can't hate. His father.
The Standoff at Waco.
What they've got in Waco is a mere preview of what we could have here.
Could it happen again? One bloody battle is over.
They were waiting for us. It was simply an ambush.
But the question remains.
Do you believe that David Koresh was tipped off?
Yes.
Why'd you do that for?
Why did this happen?
You'll share one mother's agony.
Regardless of what the reality in there is, Dave Thibodeau knows his mom's here.
And another mother's dark secret.
Does he look so much like his...
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's special live edition of 48 Hours.
A Texas prairie 10 miles east of Waco is ground zero in a smoldering holy war, a test of will that has already claimed at least 6 lives. Tonight, the FBI says talks are closer to gaining the release of as many as 30 of the 105 members, perhaps even some of the 17 children remaining inside this heavily armed compound of cult leader David Koresh. The tense standoff between the cult and federal agents is about to enter its 19th day. Tonight, we peel back the layers of this chilling story, a story that reaches far beyond Waco. We're about to visit a dark corner of American life, the world of cults, where some members live not only with faith, but also with fear.
Can you tell them their names? What's this?
Brontosaurus.
Robin Buns and her 4-year-old son, Sean, share a secret.
Here's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Sean looks like his father. Because he looks so much like his father, I can't hate his father.
Robin says Sean's father is David Koresh. Fearing for her life, she's been hiding under police protection in a Los Angeles suburb.
Told my mother that, you know, someday you might have to go kill Robin and David, my brother.
Told your mother that she may have to kill her son and daughter.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why she left.
There's a madman living in Waco.
Now, for the first time since the Waco siege, Robin has agreed to talk openly about Koresh, who she knew by his given name, Vernon Howell.
I was one of his wives. I was just a single girl, and we were having babies for God.
So how's God going to talk to me in the latter days?
It's going to be written.
And who's going to bring that book? So there'll be no excuses.
6 years ago, Robin says Koresh picked her to be one of his many so-called wives.
4th wife.
She was just 17.
I was one of the first ones. I was one of the first ones that everybody knew about anyway.
Robin was a child of the cult. Both parents were members. They lived with Koresh in Texas and California.
That Koresh will commit suicide. I think that he wants to maintain the image of being...
Robin's mother, Janine, also considered herself Koresh's wife, even though she was legally married to another cult member.
Yeah, I was his wife. I was, and so was my daughter, and so was 15 other people in there.
When Robin and Janine Buns were still active in the cult, they lived in this house in nearby Laverne, California. Sometimes there were as many as 25 women who lived behind this white picket fence, and Robin and Janine say all of the women were available for whatever Koresh had in mind.
Vernon had his own room there at the end of the hall. It was his harem house. And sometimes he'd say, I want to talk to you later. That was his way of saying, you know, come up and see me. You know?
All these cult leaders are just the same. They're like spoiled children.
Rick Ross helps people break away from cults.
All right.
Aaron, calm down.
Aaron.
Leave me alone.
We first met him 4 years ago on 48 Hours when a woman hired him to rescue her son.
I mean, are they about the Bible, or are they just a bunch of guys who want to control people?
Since then, he's counseled the families of several members of Koresh's cult.
Well, he is a very charismatic individual. He's a good speaker. He knows how to do a heck of a tap dance through the Bible.
When Christ reveals himself, it's going to be according to the book.
Koresh is a 33-year-old Texan, a high school dropout with a knack for reciting Bible verses. He was never in trouble with the law until he took over the Branch Davidians sect in 1987. That was after a bloody gun battle with another faction in Waco. He was acquitted of all charges, and soon, Koresh was seeking higher office.
Someone's the son of God.
He truly believes that he's the son of God.
You believed that for a while, too?
Probably like for a month.
Do you believe that he's the Messiah today?
Sometimes.
Sorry?
Sometimes.
Even now?
Even now. Because of the way that the events are turning out now, he had predicted all this to happen. He told us that it would end up this way, that he would be a martyr.
Correct me, stop me if I'm putting words in your mouth, but, I mean, you think he still may be Jesus?
Well, I think that, and yet I push it out of my mind, because if he is, and I have left the group, then I'm lost. And I don't like to think that.
I waited patiently on the Lord. He inclined to me when he heard my cry. He brought me up out of a horrible pit.
These people believe that God is Koresh, Koresh is God?
Right. Basically, what Koresh has done is gone through more or less standard brainwashing techniques to control the minds of these followers.
What was his pitch when he hooked you?
He didn't have a pitch. It was just scriptures. Scripture after scripture after scripture. And the studies are so long, and your food deprivation, and you can't go to the bathroom during these studies, and lack of sleep, that, you know, you're brainwashed. It's a brainwashing.
We don't want to admit it. We want to say, nah, that happens to some crazy person down the street, their family. Could never happen to me. Well, think again. It could happen to anyone given the right set of circumstances.
Can I tell you,
and the leader.
With respect, I don't believe you. I don't believe it could happen to me. I mean, if somebody comes up to me and tells me he's Jesus.
He'd catch you when you were stressed out about something, when you were depressed, when you were out of sorts about something in your life, and then all of a sudden these wonderful, loving people would come to you and they would say, you know, God loves you, and we love you, and we just want to can we give you a hug?
It's just a gradual thing. It's not something that happened overnight. And he's a very personable person. He's a very lovable person. He's kind. He loves children. And he really knows what he's talking about.
By all accounts, Koresh was a smooth talker when it came to dealing with adults. But Robin says there was nothing smooth about his approach to children.
I would make him go roar.
Sean didn't like his father. By the time Sean was to Vernon old enough to spank, which was 9 months old, Sean was scared of this person because he was a complete and total stranger. So Vernon decided that the way to stop this was to spank him. And
a 9-month-old?
Yeah. He would hit him with a paddle. He spanked him one time very hard, and his bottom bled.
He spanked him until his rear end bled when he was 10 months old? How did you feel about that?
Out of everything that I ever did in that group, probably that's the only thing that I can think of that I really, really, really despise that I allowed to happen. Can I have a kiss?
In 1990, life inside the cult became too controlled for Robin, so she left.
Is he crazy?
He doesn't seem crazy.
He doesn't?
No,
Stockpiling
he
guns and talking about Armageddon and saying I'm Jesus?
Well, now he seems crazy because I'm out here and I'm not there, and I look at him now and I'm like, God, he's lost his mind. You know, he really has.
I'm about to introduce you to a brand new cereal. But before I show you what it looks like, I'd like to show you what it tastes like. Home-baked banana nut bread. If you'd like a slice of this, you're going to love a bowl of this. New Banana Nut Crunch cereal. Real banana baked into crunchy oat clusters and crispy wheat flakes with chopped walnuts. New Banana Nut Crunch from Post. For home-baked taste in your cereal bowl.
Lasers, satellites, cellular data networks. What exactly are we preparing for? UPS introduces Total Track, the only tracking system that can confirm delivery of your air and designated ground packages coast to coast in seconds.
Package was signed for at 9:26 this morning by Mr.
The arms race may be over, but the package race is just heating up.
Well, the first time I tried it, it was like, whoa, this is a new experience.
Introducing new Arm & Hammer Dental Care Tartar Control Gel.
With the Arm & Hammer Tartar Control, it's just like I left the dentist chair. You know that polish feeling you get when the tartar's gone and your teeth feel brand new? Arm & Hammer is the only tartar control gel with baking soda and a fresh mint taste. So now I get that fresh from the dentist feeling anytime I feel like it.
New Arm & Hammer Tartar Control Gel for that fresh from the dentist feeling of clean. And now try the feeling for free. Watch for this free sample in this month's Carol Wright coupon mailer.
Long about this time of year, folks in Lake Edna start wishing for a little spice in their lives. So KFC decided to do something about it. Introducing a whole new way to enjoy great tasting chicken. KFC Spicy Chicken Bites. Just $1.99 for a single serving. Tender morsels of skinless chicken oven roasted with a zippy flavor. Get them while they last. Folks here love them. In fact, Lake Edna may never be the same.
We are KFC. We
to chicken rights.
Think you have privacy where you work? Don't bet on it. Big Brother is probably watching.
It's like a KGB operation.
Technology is increasingly being used to control people. It really is like an electronic straitjacket.
And if you expect the law to protect your privacy, don't. So what can you do? Start by watching Eye on America tomorrow on the CBS Evening News.
A hospital is shut down and a doctor's dream destroyed.
I have to buy that clinic.
I can't give a loan to a single woman.
Dr. Quinn at a special time Saturday.
These guns have come off the street, semi-automatics. These are the MAC-10s.
Illegal firearms.
Pistols, revolvers.
That's what the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms goes after.
The larger 9mm handguns.
And what agents were looking for in David Koresh's compound.
AR-15s, other types of long guns.
Do you have any idea of how much firepower like this he may have?
We're certainly talking about dozens, if not hundreds, of weapons like this and others.
Stephen Higgins is the director of this arm of the Treasury. Is that illegal to collect guns like this?
It's not illegal to collect guns like this. What is illegal is if you take a weapon like this and you convert it to fire automatically. We know that certain parts have been ordered and they have that capability to do that. We suspect that that's probably been done.
Is that how the ATF got involved then?
Yes.
Involved in what turned out to be one of the deadliest days in ATF's history. Did you feel, and did the agency feel, that there was an urgency about getting into the compound?
Once we had enough information that we felt justified getting the search warrants and the arrest warrants, we moved and we acted.
The plan to serve those warrants followed months of training. Agents expected to get into the compound and separate the weapons from those who could use them.
But they were waiting for us. It was simply an ambush.
While there's a lot that we still don't know about what happened that morning, there is one point on which everyone agrees, that the ATF raid relied on the element of surprise. And yet at least 2 television stations in Waco report that they had learned from their own sources not only what was about to happen, but when. Do you believe that David Koresh was tipped off?
Yes.
Do you know who did tip him off?
I believe that I think that I probably know who tipped him off at this point, but there's still a lot of investigation to be done.
Can you give me at least a general idea where the tip came? Did it come from media? Did it come from other law enforcement? Did it come from people in the town? Where do you think the tip came from?
I wouldn't want to say that right now.
Get that camera out of here! Get out of here! But it's obvious in the confusing moments just after the raid that the ATF agents were disturbed by the presence of reporters.
I need help! I am! Move! Go!
And just today, an agent who was wounded in the raid, John Reisenhoover, on his own filed a civil suit against the owners of the Waco Tribune-Herald, alleging the newspaper tipped Koresh off. The newspaper denies the charge, and all Higgins would say is that the tip, whomever it came from, turned the tables on the ATF.
But it depended on the surprise, and being done in a very quick period of time, we lost that element of surprise.
Instead, ATF agents were met by a hail of bullets as they attempted to storm the weapons room. The officers, seen here, were all part of a special response team based in New Orleans. Were these guys the first ones in most of these kind of raids?
These are the first ones in.
Do it! That's their job. These are the same guys who put their lives on the line during a series of raids that 48 Hours followed 2.5 years ago. Back then, we had to conceal their identities. But now we can show you the faces of 2 of those agents. 28-year-old Todd McKeon and 30-year-old Conway LeBleu. Both were part of the assault team in Waco. With shots splintering through the wall, a fellow officer barely escaped with his life. Todd McKeon and Conway LeBleu were not so lucky. They, along with fellow agents Steve Willis and Robert Williams, were all killed in the raid. Was it realistic for the ATF agents to rely on surprise?
No, it was not.
Tony Cooper is a law enforcement consultant who teaches terrorism and conflict resolution at the University of Texas at Dallas.
It was a location
where surprise simply could not work. This place stood out. It was in a relatively bare landscape.
When you look back, did you depend too much on that element of surprise? Did you count too much on the fact that Koresh would be surprised in this?
I've looked at it and rethought it, and I think everybody else has. I've talked with the people who were part of that, those that were wounded, those that were team leaders. They feel like there was no problem with the plan. They're used to doing things that depend on surprise.
Hold to the right!
This was foreseeably a military-style operation. The ATF is a civilian law enforcement agency. They underestimated the risks, they underestimated what they were facing.
What the ATF is facing now is growing criticism from those who question not only how the agents carried out the raid, but whether they should have been there at all.
There would be some people who would say, well, they were defending their home.
We didn't come in with guns smoking. We announced our presence and said we had a warrant. It happens all over this country, night after night after night. If it's justifiable to shoot a law enforcement officer because you're somehow protecting your home against somebody who's serving a lawful warrant, then God help us.
Introducing Red Lobster's steak and 19 shrimp. It's scampi, fried shrimp, and a tender top sirloin, all three together just $10.99. So slice it, spritz it, don't miss it. Tonight at Red Lobster.
Since Maxwell House Light gives you the rich taste of Maxwell House coffee, but with half the caffeine, you may want to get a bigger cup. Maxwell House Light, blended with Colombian beans, so it's good to the last drop.
Oh, yeah. Consider the interest you're paying on your credit card. Thanks to Smart Rate from the Discover card, there's a chance to go lower. Now, the more you choose the Discover card when making purchases, the lower your rate can go. And since there's still no annual fee, that's a whole new bottom line. Smart Rate, as low as 14.9%. Check your mail for your pre-approved application. It pays to Discover.
The madness is coming. 64 teams, hundreds of happy cheerleaders, millions of obsessed fans, and 64 hysterical grown men. Watch out, America. March Madness begins Thursday on CBS.
Saturday, the woman Raven loves is being stalked by an ex-con.
Thank God her, Jonathan.
Can Raven save her?
We have a warrant for your arrest.
When he's behind bars. Raven, Saturday.
We think Montana's the last best place.
Along Montana's Yellowstone River, there's talk these days about the new land use and logging bill. Up the road in Livingston, there's concern the store signs are getting too big, getting in the way of the beauty of the place. But the hottest story in southwest Montana comes from more than 1,000 miles away.
The Waco incident.
It's really unfortunate.
I think it's a tragedy.
What they've got in Waco is a preview, a mere preview of what we could have here.
The cult is front-page news just about every day in this part of Montana.
It's a reminder that we have a similar situation, if not more dramatic one, only a few miles from town.
John Sullivan is the publisher of the Livingston Enterprise.
Waco is part of a state that likes to brag about having the biggest and the bestest, I said in the column. And at least on the area of armed cults, we've got a bigger one.
It was 12 years ago when life in this majestic part of the world began to change, and some people began to worry. That's when the religious group from Southern California came in, the Church Universal and Triumphant, CUT, or CUT, as the locals call it. CUT bought up thousands of acres of ranch land here in the Paradise Valley, and then the members came, as many as 2,000 members, practicing a New Age doomsday is near religion, led by a charismatic woman they call Guru Ma.
Chelas of my first love.
She's Elizabeth Clare Prophet, and she married into the church, a church started by her late husband, a vacuum cleaner salesman. Now, she claims to be the reincarnation of a number of people, including Queen Guinevere.
And I anchor here, my causal body of love.
The Crow Indians were kind of our allies, and this was Crow country.
Pete Story's family's been in this valley from territorial days. His forebears were the first to bring ranching to Paradise Valley.
My great-granddad, though, got along well with the Indians.
And in that tradition, Pete welcomed the church and its members when they first came.
Now you can see that thing up ahead of you. See that big arch? That is an entrance to a bomb shelter.
What's a bomb shelter doing up there?
One of the rumors is that they do have armored vehicles. And if they do, that's probably where they are. This thing made me mad.
But if the bomb shelter made him mad, that was nothing compared to what came next.
I think those are gun slits.
On the edge of your property?
It's an anathema to me. We think it's entirely inappropriate to have that structure in this beautiful, peaceful valley.
Do you take it as a hostile action?
Yes. Good neighbors don't build fortifications between themselves.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Hi, can we talk to you for a minute? We're curious about this structure up here. Can you tell us what it's all about?
That's a stone structure. We use it to hold our towers, our radio. That's what we use it for.
Uh-huh. But are those truly gun slits there where you can...
No, there's no gun slits.
No.
No, those are observation windows.
This is not a heavily armed enclave?
No. I would say honestly that if we had as many guns as Pete has in his house, I'd be surprised.
It's more than what Pete and others in the valley see. It's what they've had hints of that shakes them up.
The firearms we sought to acquire were to be used only for defensive purposes.
3 years ago, Guru Ma's current husband, himself a church vice president, was convicted of illegal arms dealings. Authorities found weapons and documents.
And the documents obviously show that they really had a massive plan to arm themselves to the teeth. One reference here to equip an army of 200 men. This is parts for AR-15s, which is an automatic or semi-automatic rifle.
Not a hunting rifle.
Not a hunting rifle. And when they say they've got them for self-defense or for gopher shooting, I mean, that just doesn't cut it. This one refers to something being a real man-stopper at ranges up to 400 yards. Here's correspondence relating to their wishes to purchase a tank.
A tank?
Right. There's an outfit in New Jersey called Tanks a Lot, believe it or not. And I don't know a gopher in Park County that needs a tank to wipe it out.
What is the threat? What's the threat to the outside world as long as they're doing their thing back behind the barbed wire?
Well, I guess you could ask that same question down in Waco, couldn't you?
50 caliber Barrett semi-automatic weapon with armor-piercing ammunition. You know what that would do to a buffalo? Instant sausage.
Kathy Schmuck, writer, activist, and surrounded by church members.
They're a very, very dangerous group. And the sad thing is, they don't really know how dangerous they are. Only Elizabeth Prophet knows.
I am the violet flame in mighty cosmic power.
We wanted to ask the church leader about the allegations. At first, we were refused an interview. But after we'd spoken to critics in the community, she was made available to us in New York while preaching how to plug into God every day.
Plug into God frequently, easily, quickly, for 30 seconds.
We asked about the alleged powerful weapons.
I have never seen them. I have never seen them.
We asked about the documents concerning the alleged intentions of church members to buy tanks.
There are no tanks. I mean, if there was a tank on church property, the whole world would have seen it arrive.
My involvement was to be a truck driver for them.
Don Trowbridge was in the church 10 years.
I know I handled weapons. I know I handled ammunition, and a sizable amount to fill up the back of a
flatbed, and they were hiding it. You know, they weren't out in the open. They were locked down in the basement of this barn.
We are totally opposed to violence. Violence has come to us in the form of persecution, very intense persecution, including crossing the line of truth and inventing rumors.
But whether it's truth or rumor or a mix of both, it's got the citizens of Paradise Valley worried that the next standoff might be here.
This is the largest survivalist cult in the world. So that's why we look at Waco as maybe a trial run.
You take underground shelters and loads of weapons, and you mix them all up, and you've got Waco, Texas. Sometime.
Here you go.
But the great-grandson of the friend of the Crow Indians says maybe his church neighbors will learn something from the events in Texas.
Eventually they'll be aware of the futility of withstanding lawful authority. I think it's a tragedy that may prevent future tragedies. I hope that will be the case.
I've come here for my kid.
Still to come on 48 Hours.
I don't know who's in there alive.
A mother learns the fate of her son inside the Waco compound.
I'm experiencing a nightmare.
And you'll meet a former cult member in hiding
I'm still scared.
at a secret halfway house.
They keep hunting you down.
Imagine a rent-a-car company that offers special delivery right to your door. That's Enterprise.
Here, let me help you.
Enterprise, a special rent-a-car company that gives you special delivery.
Everybody needs some money sometime.
When you need to send money fast, only Western Union lets you send it from home.
Hello. Little problem.
Just call 1-800-CALL-CASH. Western Union, the fastest way to send money.
48 Hours will continue. This is CBS.
here for my kid. No, that's not the Branch Davidian compound. That's somebody else's farm. Where is it exactly? Can you point it?
On a hilltop outside Waco, a mother searches for her son.
Well, oh God. It's on the horizon. We're a long way from it.
She's been here nearly a week.
I don't know who's in there alive. I don't know who's in there wounded or other. I have no information. Nobody does.
And Belinda Gainham still doesn't know whether her son is dead or alive in the Davidian compound.
He knows I'm here.
How does he know?
Because he knows me. He knows I'm here because he knows me. I mean, regardless of what the reality in there is, Dave Thibodeau knows his mom's here because that's the kind of, friend he's got in his mother.
David's mother came from Bangor, Maine to find her 24-year-old son and to solve a mystery.
In many ways, I just don't know what the truth could even possibly be.
Is the man in the compound still David, the son she raised and loved?
I would like to get a sense of what my son's role is in this whole nightmare.
The spirit that moved Dave to Waco 2 years ago was music. He was David Koresh's drummer. So, in his way, this was paradise for him.
He did not come into this from the spiritual aspect first. That happened later on because it's part and parcel with the atmosphere, with the community.
But it did happen.
Yeah, it did happen. He started to study the scripture. He started to, wonder. He started to develop questions. Hi, did you come here when it was the Q Sticks?
She's working the bars he used to play.
I am Belinda Gainham, and Dave Thibodeau is my son, and I'm so glad that you came.
Talking to the people he used to know.
Your son, he didn't seem like he was caught up in it like a robot as much. I like Dave a lot. He was the only one that, like I could say, I could consider a friend out of that whole group.
Thank you. We would say to him, Dave, what are you doing? How are you earning your money? And it was continuously, I'm playing the drums. I'm being paid to play the drums. I'm a musician.
The need to hear those drums brought her to the hillside tonight. Yesterday, there were reports of music from the compound. And if it is live music, what does that mean?
Well, it means that... It means the band's intact.
And if you hear drums?
It means that my kid might be playing them.
Nothing was heard the rest of the night. The days drag on.
I just haven't had enough sleep.
Y'all sold about 30 yesterday and about 70 today.
Belinda is offended by the circus.
Because he makes fun of my Jesus, so I want to poke fun at him.
You got to look at the skyline. It's getting a little dark. I'm not sure.
Assaulted by publicity.
That's it. It ends right here. These people here are experiencing an event. I'm experiencing a nightmare.
At the center of attention, she tries to stand up for her son and question the official version of the shootout.
Just present an opposing view from what the world seems to have right now. There's an armed situation that has his safety in jeopardy, and I don't think that's his fault. What's your name, ma'am? How did this happen? Why did this happen? How did this attack ever come about?
I think, to be honest, a lot of people at home may be saying to themselves right now, when a policeman comes to your door, you don't shoot him.
I think, again, like I say, that when a policeman comes to your door, he doesn't shoot at you. I mean, I don't know what the facts are.
Every morning, she looks for news. Is Dave alive?
Mr. Koresh had indicated that these individuals were free to leave at any time. The individuals contacted were David Thibodeau.
Oh, thank God they contacted him.
They've talked to him.
Yes, that's incredible. That's incredible. That's incredible. Now I know he's not one of the dead people inside the compound. Oh my God.
He's alive, but not safe.
We have discussions with Koresh. He has made such statements as, "We are ready for war. Let's get it on."
Belinda holds on to the memories of the last time she saw her son.
We were taking a walk somewhere and he held my hand for a moment. And I think that that's the worst of it, is wondering if that's ever going to happen to me again. Because I remember so clearly what that feels like. That's where the pain comes from.
After 12 days waiting in Waco,
Hi, Eddie. It's really me, Davey Thibodeau's mom.
Belinda has found someone who used to play in Dave's band.
It's nice great to meet you.
She sees her son at last,
There he is. Oh my God, there's David.
if only on videotape.
Davey's good, huh? Yeah, I know, he's a good drummer.
And there's someone else,
Oh, there's that horrible man.
David Koresh.
If you could talk to him, he'd walk right out of there. Great.
Well, thank you.
The strain is showing.
I hope I see you again.
Make sure you call me.
Okay, I promise I will as soon as I know something.
There is something she doesn't know, something Dave's friend told us.
I asked him point blank if he really thought David was Jesus Christ. And he told me, yeah.
Did you ever say to him, Dave, this is nuts. You ought to get out of there?
I said, if you want to get out of here, man, I've got a place you can stay until, you can get home or whatever. But, he didn't take the offer.
Didn't want to go?
He believes in what David's teaching.
Belinda is holding on to the hope that her son is innocent.
Question is, what did we respond?
The question is, what were the
But evidence is mounting. It may not be so. Your negotiators have been in contact with Dave Thibodeau. What has he told you about his welfare and his intentions?
That he is there of his own free will. He wants to remain.
My primary feeling right now is that he's prepared to go down with his master.
Her only way to reach him is a tape to be delivered by the FBI.
Hi, Dave. This is Mom. I'm here in Waco with Bob, your uncle, my brother.
She wants him to know that even if he has changed,
don't make me wait too much longer, because it's really hard not to be with you. Love, Mom.
She has not.
I just want David to know that I am here, and when he's ready to walk out, he will not be facing anything alone.
If you can't get away for lunch, now you can feel like you did. Introducing Stouffer's Lunch Express. 14 microwavable choices in an easy opening box, all for around $2. Now there's Stouffer's homemade taste for lunch.
New Stouffer's Lunch Express. Nothing comes closer to home.
There has never been a better day to bring your company back to AT&T. For AT&T quality and 100 free days. Sign up for one of our special plans and you can get 100 free days of long-distance 800 service, fax, and data over the next 2 years. Call 1-800-222-0400 for full details. Don't let the sun go down without calling. AT&T, the best in the business.
People buy homes, it's an emotional experience.
And you have to understand what their needs are, where the schools are, where the shopping is, put them in the right place so the children will be happy.
You can't go, whoops, it's Sunday. When they're ready, you better be ready.
I have a pet peeve about people who don't return phone calls. So if you don't hear from me, you can rest assured I'm probably dead.
I just never give up.
Century 21, rated best at selling homes.
I will provide for my clients whatever I would do for just a good friend.
Fixing up the place? Here's an idea. Get a new Ford Citibank Visa card. And by the time you've bought the curtains, and the sofa, and the rugs, 5% will go towards a new Ford or Lincoln or Mercury. You could earn a rebate of up to $3,500 faster than any other basic auto rebate card. so you can get something that really hauls or something that really hauls. The new Ford Citibank Visa. Now, isn't that a better idea?
She was a loving mother, but in one horrifying moment,
My baby's not breathing.
she was accused of poisoning her child.
I hereby sentence you to life without parole.
And when her second child became ill,
That's the exact same thing that happened to Corey.
would it prove her guilty or innocent?
Did you poison your son? Then who do you think did?
Lisa Hartman Black, Without a Kiss Goodbye, Sunday.
She's a marriage counselor. He's a divorce lawyer.
What if this is a fixable marriage?
I told him it was in the toilet.
What if you're wrong?
Oops. Good Advice starts Friday, April 2nd.
They said as we were leaving, they were going to kill us. I'm still scared, even though I'm miles away. See, with cults, they keep hunting you down.
Laura is on the run.
I was one of them. I almost killed somebody that left the cult. I almost killed my dad because the leader told me, your dad is questioning my wisdom. So it's hard to understand, but that wasn't me. I'm understanding that wasn't me. They had my mind.
2 months ago, Laura got out of a cult. Her story may answer a lot of questions about the followers of David Koresh.
I feel for the members in the cult, and I know what they're going through, and I know that their mind has been stolen away from them, their free will, and that they are not there because they want to be, and that the cult leader is calling the shots. And if he decides to tell them, kill yourself tomorrow, they will kill themselves tomorrow.
In essence, what happens is that the leader becomes your mind.
Paul Martin, one-time cult member, runs this country's only refuge for people breaking away.
They feel safe here. You know, nobody's going to know they're here.
Here, hidden in the southern Ohio hills, and for security concerns, we've agreed not to say exactly where. This is a kind of psychological no man's land for cult dropouts. A halfway house for people making the transition from life in a cult to living in the real world.
Pull this down for y'all.
It was just the other night that Laura and her husband Jim came to the Wellspring Retreat for help from Paul and Barb Martin.
Did you have brothers and sisters that were also in it?
My whole family. 4 sisters and 2 brothers.
Laura grew up in a cult in the South.
My mom and dad were recruiters.
This was on this hot thing here, I'm not sure.
How, are they still in the group? Or,
Yes.
Ooh,
she might still be there if she hadn't met Jim.
It's just something so simple. Go outside, go walking with my husband and not have to answer to anybody, to go to the park with my kids.
Today, freedom is making the simplest decisions. Walking where or when she wants. What to wear. For 22 years, Laura's cult leader made even the smallest decisions for her.
If the leader came to my house and she saw this makeup case, or I had this type of wallpapering and she didn't like it, I was to get rid of it, go in town, get a new one, get what she wanted me to get.
Her control was mind-bending.
So you were scared to death to get up in the morning, make the wrong move, do your hair the wrong way.
Crossing the leader brought a punishment known as blasting.
And then when you were called by the leader, you got like a sick feeling in your stomach. She'd call all the other 70 members to sit around. She'd sit in a big chair. She'd have the little kid or whoever was being blasted sit on the floor looking up to the leader, and she would scream violently at the top of her voice, cussing, saying awful, horrible things. You're ungrateful wretch, you stinking blank, 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 who the hell, whap, whap, do you think you are? You're gonna go to hell, you better conform. And the person dare not move because you were scared of being killed. And you, after hearing this for 9 hours, believe it.
Did that happen to you often?
Yeah. At least once a month for 22 years.
As long as she has that happiness to be free and has that hope that there's life beyond,
Let's go walk in the deep snow.
that's going to go back and help heal the pain and the brokenness inside.
Is it tough to leave your family?
Yes, I miss them very, very much. I cry every night because I miss them. I mean, that's my mother. But yet I hate her damn guts for what she did to me and stole my life away from me. She put me to bed and fed me. That's all she did. And she was the leader's robot.
It's very important to understand that we can't let go and move on with our lives unless we understand exactly what happened in the group. Nobody joins a bizarre, destructive cult. People join because they see friends. They see the vision, the idealism. When they join, they don't see the abuse. They don't.
I was seeking spiritual truths, and all of a sudden, by gosh, I had found them.
Liz is here for treatment from another cult, and like Laura, her little slice of heaven became a living hell.
I was physically, emotionally, spiritually, and sexually tortured and abused.
They started picking on my children because they couldn't get to me enough, and they're bad, beat them more.
You were told to beat your children?
Mm-hmm.
I beat my son one time. It was the most horrible experience of my life. I beat him because he cut down some of my flowers. And the cult leader told me that I had to beat him with a belt. He was only 4 or 5.
How could you beat your own child? Why did you stay? Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you get out of there?
That's what is so hard for people to understand. It's so sad. It is so hard to explain because you're under mind control. You're doing it because the leader tells you you're going to go to hell if you don't do it. You lose how to think and you just act like an infant. So how can you break away when your money is all tied up for the leader, when you have no outside friends or anywhere to go, and you really believe if you do leave, you're going to hell? And the great fear of deep down inside, they all fear of being killed if they leave.
Once you become a true believer, you believe in the credibility of your leader, not only will you abuse your children, you will stand in line and take Kool-Aid that you know has poison in it.
If there is a lesson in Waco, it's about control, how one person can rule the lives of many and ruin the lives of many more. You surprised the standoff has gone on so long?
Oh, no.
Why?
That doesn't surprise me at all. A cult is a lifelong fight, a lifelong mental, psychological battle. They will fight to the end. They will never give up. Never.
Saturday at a special time, a medical clinic is in foreclosure.
She'll have to vacate immediately.
People's lives are at stake.
And one woman's only hope
I have to buy that clinic.
is destroyed by greed and intolerance.
I can't give a loan to a single woman.
Can't or won't.
Dr. Quinn, Saturday at a special time.
Another day is drawing to a close, and all kinds of people all over the country are heading home for dinner. And no matter who they are or what they do or where they make their homes, chances are their favorite dinners have at least one thing in common. Beef. It's what's for dinner.
Dial a Mattress. For over 10 years, the easiest way to buy a brand new mattress without leaving home. Just pick up the phone and dial 1-800-MATTRES. You'll get the lowest prices on Sealy Posturepedic, Serta Perfect Sleeper, and Simmons Beauty Rest. You'll get express 2-hour delivery. That's right, 2-hour delivery, and you only pay our driver upon your approval. Dial 1-800-MATTRES and leave off the last S for savings.
It's tough to keep ahead of the competition. You gotta move fast to stay on top. You need 2-day priority mail. In 2 days, we deliver 2 pounds for only $2.90. If the competition's new rates are just too much, visit your post office to send 2-day priority mail or call 1-800-USPS for your free starter kit.
We deliver for you.
The adults are there because of choice. We believe the true innocents in there are the children. And we have continually tried to negotiate the release of those children. It will be, to us, a tremendous sign if the children start coming out again.
No children have been released from the Branch Davidian compound in almost 2 weeks. The last kids out, 21 in all, had been sent off by their parents to become wards of the state.
How are the kids doing now, man?
I haven't seen them yet.
Where do you want the children to go?
The courts are now deciding their fate. And relatives from around the world are coming to Waco to fight to take them home.
Have you been worried about Joanne these years?
Yes. How can I not?
Ursula Gurman has come from Hawaii to try to convince the court to release her 7-year-old sister, Joanne.
She's just beautiful. She's got long, beautiful hair. She's, I don't know, the most beautiful little girl I've ever seen.
But what worries Ursula are the rumors of abuse and what might have happened in the 5 years since Joanne and their mother became disciples of David Koresh.
You believe he's the son of God?
I hope he is.
Your mom sent a letter out with Joanne. What does it say?
It says, by the time you get this note, I'll be dead. Take good care of Joanne. Love you much.
Her mother is still a holdout in the compound. Joanne is being kept by the state in a secret location, and Ursula is waiting for her sister's call.
So we wait. I don't know what to say to her. Ready? Hello? Joanne? Thanks.
Hi, Sissy. Hi, Jojo. What you doing? Nothing. Nothing?
Well, you know, I'm trying to convince them for them to let you come home with me. Remember I told you? Huh?
Will they let you?
I don't know. I'm hoping that they will.
It won't be easy. There's an aunt from New Zealand who wants Joanne, and beyond that, the state of Texas might just decide to keep her.
Did you tell me you want to come with me? Okay, good. Because that makes a big difference, you know. I miss you a lot, you know.
I miss you too.
Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it?
It is. This whole thing is just so unnecessary, you know. But, you know, keep me positive. At least she's out of there.
What had you heard about abuse in the compound?
I did hear of them getting beat pretty bad.
Now, I think some people at home have to be asking themselves, why didn't they take these children out of that environment sooner?
Bob Boyd is with the Department of Children's Protective Services.
We know there was a shootout in 1987. It was common knowledge around here that Koresh was a polygamist. It doesn't seem like a very wholesome atmosphere for those kids to be in.
The law is real specific on the kind of situations that you can remove children from. We've made one visit over a year ago.
Made one visit over a year ago. What was the report back from that visit?
We were unable to find any evidence of abuse to the children.
Whatever happened then, they've certainly been traumatized now.
It's highly likely that they have seen someone killed.
Yeah, and that's just very hard for children to deal with.
Helen Benedict is a Baylor University psychologist.
Their sense of safety has been really undermined, and they may be undergoing massive amounts of grief and loss.
And now separation from their families. After 2 weeks, Ursula is waiting for her answer. Where will Joanne go?
Hello? Yeah?
Yesterday, a call from the state.
Really? Really? Oh my God, Tammy, thank you. Bye. I'm so happy. Wow, I feel like I've just won like Miss Universe or something.
It's decided. Ursula and her sister are a family again. And just this morning, they headed home.
Has Joanne asked about her mom?
She knows. Oh, she doesn't ask. She kind of has the answers.
There's a kind of a wound here, but wounds heal. They're never going to be exactly the same. But that doesn't mean they won't be fine.
If she wants to talk about it later, or if she wants to talk about it today, fine. But I'm not going to push her. Say bye.
Bye-bye.
There is a reason why you didn't see little Joanne's face. Her sister wants to protect her privacy as Joanne begins her new life, far from the compound near Waco. But tonight, for others, the dangerous standoff drags on. Cult members remain sealed inside the compound. Federal agents remain on alert. The families continue their agonizing wait. And no one knows when or how this will all end. I'm Dan Rather, and that's 48 Hours for this week. Coming up next, your late local news. But first, I'll look ahead to our next report. It's a world you've never seen.
Late night is very special.
Right, Tony? You look at the fish.
The graveyard shift.
You actually have to fight to stay awake here.
The insomniacs.
I won't go to sleep.
It doesn't get more severe than this.
The creatures of the night.
The witching hour has begun.
While you're asleep, they come alive. All night long.
The vibe at night is clearer.
Next week.
For a transcript, send $5 to Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039.
Experience CBS News.
Somewhere at the end of the line, women ex-cops on the edge of the law. Tonight on CBS Late Night, Dangerous Curves.
This is CBS.